dyan.
Ay, nakagakot, di naman malaki. Mga drummer boy. Drummer.
Let's go. Saan? Ah,
Hey guys.
well, live stream, no? Dito.
Ano yan? Alam ko may hagdan. Hindi ko alam kung ano ang ano ko lang ang nice dito.
Ah, hindi lumipad. Hayop daw kayo. Pa nagbibideo. Yan.
Say, sayaw. Ay. Go guys. Thank you.
Busog. Nakita?
Babae. 1, 2. Okay lang magkasama yung babae. Hi vlog. Hi guys. Hi guys. Hi guys. Welcome to my vlog. We are here in Chinatown. Ikaw Nick, sa may mga beer go ko.
Tao ka ba?
Bakit ka rooster? Uy, mayroon silang durian ice cream. Asa ba? Durian ice cream.
Game. Buka na.
Ha?
Sige.
Extremely faithful. Honest. Oh my God. So honest.
Ano?
Superb organizer with the notes for making money.
Ah, yes.
Show me your money. Show me my money. Snake people are gracefully and they grow very carefully. A very impressive in appearance.
Uy!
Sure, snakes are extremely intelligent and calculating. No! He is not calculating the expenses.
They tend to be possessive, demanding, and forgiving.
Oh, you're not that maybe. Snake make excellent politician.
Ah,
Also
politician, Maya. Maya
Hey,
for
I'm
me.
happy
should
with
try.
the rooster. A bull or rooster.
I don't think you are like that. I think.
I was happy with the rooster
Ah, rooster.
and the
Oh,
bull.
sige na, mag-ganam na tayo. Tara na, saan masiganam? Saan ang ganam?
Para para yung oink-oink.
Of course, the snake don't get along
Bad
with
boy.
Wow! Hala, pasok tayo dyan!
Yes! Itulak mo!
Dito tayo malag-Uber X. Tapos umuulan-ulan.
O nga no? Picture?
It's like umbrella. Umbrella mo talaga yun.
Mga taga-bukid. Wala, taga-bukid oh.
Uy, nawawala.
Uy, taga-bukid. Uy, taga-bukid po. Taga-bukid po ito.
Pamasahe lang, sir. Pamasahe lang. Vlogger.
Uy, bagong kulay eh.
Change outfit. Change outfit yan. Kasi pag-init.
Tanungin mo at Aileen, we are 3:30.
3:30 na yung naka-project.
Ah, okay.
You guys 3:30?
Yeah.
C. C.
So, si amigo.
Ay, di. Phone na lol. He broke it.
Kita yung
So, hi guys. Welcome to our vlog. I'll picture and video.
video.
Welcome to our vlog. Friends, my mom decided to build this.
Go, go, go.
Change. We were going.
Girls karaoke night.
Dancing queen. Okay.
It's like open air.
Because she twerk.
Stepping all the way in and all the way back, facing the open doors. All the way in and all the way back.
A great fire set Chicago ablaze, burning down rising from the ashes. Chicago quickly rebuilds to become an architectural icon. In 1893,
They did already,
hosting
that's why I
beautiful
jumped.
white buildings, dazzling new inventions debut, such as electricity, elevators, and the Ferris wheel. As the birthplace of the skyscraper, Chicago flourishes in a new century with glamorous Art Deco buildings and modern architectural styles. Soaring 110 stories high, a new American icon is born. It remains today,
Inhaled right at the
experience
same time.
spectacular directions on the 103rd floor and feel the thrill of the ledge. Welcome to Skydeck.
Babu building. Buabu. Wow. I see one. That's the window.
Fish there? What kind of fish? Saltwater?
One of the Great Lakes.
Gumagalaw yung building mo. Parang naman yun.
Out there looks deep.
Hmm?
Real dark water. Looks deep.
Yeah.
But that is a lake, right?
Great Lakes.
Oh, waki-waki. One more. 1, 2. Video.
Girl! Girl! Maya, come here! Come here!
Maya. 3.
Dito ka lang. 7-Eleven. Long time.
Bili tayong hotdog at sopa.
Huwag mong ihulog yung sopa.
May Easter dito.
Tara na. Bilis, bilis. Oo. Huwag ka kasi nagpapanik. Uy, BMW. Naku, bakit iba na, Aileen?
Uy, feel ko kayo na third tayo talaga.
Hindi, tara sa third.
I think third man tayo. Second ko? Third tayo kanina. Let's go. Rock floor. building.
Alam, kinakausap na si Aileen. Oh, picture.
Iniwan man ako ni Aileen ko eh.
Saan?
Paano man yan?
Portrait pa lang gusto.
Okay. Si Aileen nawawala na. Nakidnap.
Diyan pala si Aileen.
Yeah, fine.
Kala namin nawawala eh. Lamig na. Kaya pa ng tenga mo. Watch out, man.
Tanan halos na kung kila nakasandal.
Ilang miles pa, Aileen?
Hindi ko alam. Hindi ako ng mouse. Point 3. Malapit po.
Point 3.
Buildings. Akala mo sa amin telecogenic. Guwapo buildings. Wow. Wow. Nice. Nikki, dapat na po yan. Tapos kanta-kanta ka dyan. Dancing!
Mga mandirigma.
Ano, Jollibee muna o the
Bean.
Bean! I think Jollibee is only until 8. Where is Jollibee, Basta?
Ilang miles yan?
Nakita mo yung Filipino flag? Saan ba? 7 minutes pa. Tara na.
Tara.
Yeah, but lingon ka naman. Bakit daan? Kaya nga. Bakit kasi daan yung ilan? Kami harapan tayo. Oh, ay, harapan. Ay, vlogger!
Yan, buduts. gabi naman yun.
Ha?
Hanggang gabi naman yun.
No. Jollibee.
Ah, sa Jollibee. Dapat pala nag-bin.
Bida ang saya.
Ay, masaya. Wala, ang daming tao.
Hi vlog! Welcome to my guys.
Hi guys.
Kita ba yung mukha?
Sinuwan niya, nagdalaw din siya ah. Saan naman yung
Sa taas. Ano?
Dapat back body part.
gago? Ilong ba?
Ah, balik na tayo dun. Oh, sino naman to? Oh, may building dito. Mas maganda. Yun lang, dumilim.
Ayan. Ay, dito.
Alas, sino yan?
Dali, dali, dali.
Doon na tayo mag-pin ang location.
Maganda yung kuha ko kay Shelo. Ba't hindi ganyan kaganda yung kuha mo sa akin?
Eh,
Balik tayo.
ikaw naman yung kumuha.
Sa akin?
Diyan.
Oo nga.
Oh, hindi
Ganito
ko alam
yung-
eh. Zinom mo ba yan?
Hindi.
Clean.
Ang ganda kaya no kay Shelo.
Pinahaba mo yung liig niya. Ay, legs.
Tingnan mo naman yung kuha mo sa akin.
Ah, pinutol mo yung ano, master.
Ah,
Pinutol mo din yung ano ko?
hindi ko na 0.5.
Ah.
May 0.5 ka doon, Aisa.
Ah, okay.
Yung una.
Damo, ang ganda no kay Aileen.
Wow.
Wow. Nice.
Wow,
yung
Bin.
prenup
Ang
ng
dilim.
kuha ko.
Saan? Wow, Bin. Guwapo.
So, for example,
Tara sa ilalim.
di ganun mo, girl.
Ayun na, may magpipicture, Riley. Sa vloggers.
What's up? Ay,
Grabe yan.
bakit hindi maganda yung picture? Kasi hindi man yan Samsung.
Kaya nga, para tayong umurong ah.
Kaya nga, mag-Samsung na tayo. Tignan mo, tignan mo. Dark.
Pare-parehas tayo.
Tapos itong isa, ganyan. Bakit parang horror? Horror?
Diba?
Oh, how far is it? Tricycle.
Magkwentuhan lang para.
Tricycle. Ilan ba na ang tricycle?
Pedicab yun eh.
Ah, magkano kaya yun?
Baka 50.
Uy, Diyos ko. Magbagtas na lang isa.
Ay,
Oh, kaway, kaway.
Ay, vlogger! Pero pwede mo rin kami. Kaya nga, kami rin. Traffic.
Ano?
Pwede mo rin sama sila.
Wala na, madilim na.
Hi guys!
Hey, go bowling.
EDSA Revolution Community Station. Community Station sa Fallen Station. Versus the accident.
Oo.
Basta na, kalay ng mga viewers mo. Chismosa ako.
Alam mo ba?
Alam mo ba? Masayaw ka kami. That's the song. Kanina sayaw. Nagsigil ng binte eh.
Dapat hindi mo alisin yung 4.
So, hindi pa rin.
Okay, tapos say hi!
Hi! Balik na din.
Okay, turn to the left.
Lalo yun.
Bobo man yun.
Sana. Ay, yung wings.
Yun lang.
Baka nasa ulo mo yung wings.
Ay, nila sa angle yan. Nasa angle.
Sakto lang kayo din.
Yung bato. Nasa ulo ko na yung wings.
Hindi.
Napkin.
Imo, girl.
Oo nga, gano'n mo.
Ah, wow! Bakit mo nilabas kamay mo? Ah, okay lang.
Ano ba itong portrait lahat?
Hindi.
1, 2, 3. Photo. 1, 2, 3.
Alam na, wala ka na sa wings.
1, 2. Yan, 1, 2.
Kainis talaga kayong dalawa.
Tingin kayo dito.
ano, hindi na pag-morning sa kapag. Wala! Ay!
Model.
Here comes the sun.
Doo-doo-doo.
Uy, madulas ah. Aileen, tingin. Nax. Sabihin mo, puro likod na naman yun. Kaya nga. Ayun. Ayun. Ay, ka. Apple Store. Yeah, 10 o'clock. Babe, nakaka-reminis. Bangka. Jack! Jack, nawala. Walang basic training. Enter.
Make sure that we exceed all safety requirements necessary to operate. It was life jacket to locate at the country outside the restaurant.
If
you're 90 pounds overboard,
Seems like there's a lot of 10 a.m. I don't know.
okay, do you guys want to go now or wait till the 10 o'clock? We can go now. Okay,
So you guys are all together? Basta may space tayo.
Still, you could fall overboard, and that's 22 down. So one of the pretty cool about Keely is nope. General rule, falling off big boats in the cold water will never be There's no smoking or vaping on board, but if you do need a license, we've got a bar there. Grab yourself a beer, wine, cocktail, we got mimosas and Bloody Marys. If you don't want people to know
Ang
you're
liit ng gangway
you
nila.
can put some Jameson in your coffee or Baileys in your hot chocolate. It's cool, we judged you before you got on the boat, so it doesn't matter to us. Restrooms. Ladies' rooms on the right-hand side, walking forward. Men's rooms on the left, on the lower level. There are stairs at the back and the front of this boat.
Or in
This
front.
is Andrew.
In front,
He's going to
right.
be your guide or your docent today. He's going to share some great information about the city, its architecture, and its history. As a courtesy, we do ask that you keep conversations to a minimum once we get going. Please don't take or make phone calls up here on the top deck. That includes social media stuff. If you do want to do any of those things, you have to go to the bar.
2 stars are for the 2 World's Fairs Chicago's hosted. But the most interesting fact about the flag is how it was designed. That's the winning design from a city contest held in the early 1900s. For that contest, the city found a local artist by the name of Wallace Rice and appointed him with the job of creating the rules for that contest. Wallace Rice did that, then over 1,000 designs were submitted to the contest. The winner of the contest was the guy who made the rules, Wallace Rice. Chicago's had a problem with corruption. Corrupt or not, he made a pretty darn good flag. There are people in the world who love flags. They're called vexillologists. About 20 years ago, thousands of them from across the U.S. were surveyed and asked to rate 150 different city flags from across the country in terms of their overall design. Little surprise to us locals, but our flag was one of the top rated. It was actually second best out of in 2011 when those two towers sold at a ridiculous price. I remember reading about it. I couldn't believe it. Those two iconic, gorgeous, well-located towers sold in 2011 for $33 million. If you're not sure if that's a lot or a little, I'll tell you that they sold again 7 years later, this time at a more realistic $255 million. 8 times the price in 7 years. The recession was bad. Looking straight ahead of us now, technically the right side of the river, you're looking at the second building on the tour, the second tallest in Chicago, Trump International Hotel and Tower from 2009. The building's the first of many on the tour that has an example in the design of what's called contextualism. That's simply when a building's design is inspired somehow by what's around it. In this case, you'll notice the tower has several setbacks. Those mimic the roof heights of surrounding buildings. The first setback right above us, same height as the roof of the Wrigley buildings. The next setback on that side, way up above us, is actually the same height as the top of the Black Boxy building coming up next on the right. And obviously Trump's name, kind of a lightning rod these days. A lot of people sensitive about it, can't get too careful, but I will tell you, I got a joke approved by the bosses just last week about this building. You ready for it? Trump Tower is a terrific building. Thank you. Is that a keeper? All right, thank you. All that doesn't matter though. My favorite fact about the building is that it was used for the last scenes in the movie The Dark Knight. If you saw that movie, you might remember it ended with the Joker and Batman fighting each other in a partially constructed high-rise. It was this building before it was done. Would you folks care for more or less Batman facts on this tour? More? Okay. Bruce Wayne's penthouse in The Dark Knight is in the building to your left. It's a blue and silver hotel. At the top, it was pretty straightforward. Less is more. That explains why his buildings are so simple, practical, stripped down. His buildings were generally meant to be that way, and sometimes it was for good reason. In this case, this building's pretty practical because there are only columns on the perimeter, so every floor is completely customizable. There are no interior load-bearing walls or columns. Mies van der Rohe was born in Germany, spent most of his life in Chicago, designed a lot of buildings here. He also taught architecture here for decades. Many of his students designed buildings that were a lot like that one, steel and boxy, except for the student that designed these two towers coming up on the right. These are, interestingly, the exact opposite of what Mies van der Rohe would have done. I think that's a sign that he hated his teacher. These were done by a guy named Bertrand Goldberg in the mid-1960s. They are two of the most recognizable towers in Chicago. The name is Marina City because there is, of course, a marina at the bottom, and the building was meant to be a city within a city. It was jam-packed with amenities when the building was first built. That's because at the time in the 60s, nobody else lived around here. So if you chose to live in the towers, they basically had to provide everything for you, and they practically did. They still have some of the original amenities. They've got the marina, 13 floors of parking per building. But when they were first built, the residents also had access to a bank, a dry cleaners, a grocery store, a movie theater, a bowling alley, a health club, a swimming pool, a cocktail lounge, a barbershop, a salon, and their own ice skating rink. The ice skating rink closed in the 1990s after somebody tragically skated off the edge of the structure. I'm just kidding. I see some of you are taking this tour very seriously. They did have an ice skating rink, that part's true. I just wanted to see if you were paying attention. Some of you seem like you were distracted by waving. It's very distracting. I don't know why. It's fun to wave at people. Everyone's so friendly. For some reason, everyone's really friendly when you're on a boat, but when you're driving, nobody likes you.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what the difference is. All right, coming up next on the right, you got the oldest building on this branch of the river. Head to the right, this reddish-brown brick building with the clock towers from 1914 called the Reed Murdoch Center. Reed Murdoch's a former wholesale grocer. This is their former warehouse. It's actually one of just two of the last remaining former warehouses on the main branch of the river. It's now office space, but it gives you a good idea of what the river's architecture used to look like for a long, long time. Back when Chicago was a big industrial city, pretty much all the buildings were a lot like this one, with the exception of the clock tower. So just imagine copying and pasting up this building up and down the river. Pretty much all the buildings were brick right up to the river's edge so that they could easily send and receive goods by boat. Next on the right after the bridge, another office tower, but this one obviously much newer. This sleek green glass skyscraper from 2009 has another good, simple example of contextualism. Remember, that's when a design is inspired by what's around it. In this case, the green color of the glass mimics the color of our river. It's a very nice emerald color pretty much all the time, although I'm sure some of you know that every St. Patrick's Day in Chicago since the 1960s, the city has dyed the river beautiful, bright, neon, probably radioactive Kelly green. But this is the normal color of the river. It comes from an algae that that grows in it. The building itself is also green in a second sense. It's incredibly environmentally friendly in a few major ways. In one way, it's actually bad for the environment. In one way, I will say this is good for the environment because it was built of almost all recycled materials that were locally sourced. Secondly, there's a rooftop garden that mitigates rainfall. And thirdly, controversially, there's a system underneath the building that takes in the water from the Chicago River and uses it to help create the building's cool air for the air conditioning. That was pretty innovative in the late 2000s. Controversial, though, for two reasons. It sends the secondly, the building system sucks up fish from the river, so it's a giant fish vacuum. Yeah, that's bad. Let's move on. Above us to the right, a giant structure, hard to miss this one. This was the largest building in the world when it was built in 1931. It's still pretty big. It's called the Merchandise Mart, and it has 4 million square feet of space. I know it's hard to wrap your head around how big that really is, so I'll give you some help. You might know the tallest building in Chicago is called the Sears, or maybe you call it the Willis Tower. It's got the same square footage. So imagine taking all 110 floors of our tallest building, smashing them down, and spreading it out over 2 entire city blocks. This is what it would look like. The building is so large it had its own zip code up until about 2008. It's called the Merchandise Mart because there used to be tons of merchandise here. This was the other one of the 2 remaining former warehouses. This was the warehouse for Marshall Field's big department store founded in Chicago. That's why you got these heads on top of pedestals in front of the building. They honor a lot of the nation's best known former retailers like Marshall Field. But for a long time, the building's been mostly office space, and for a long time, 40% of that structure has been showrooms for new high-end fashions in home furnishings. How high-end? You could easily spend over $2,000 in there on a single faucet. I don't think I need to say this, but I have 0 faucets in my house from the Merchandise Mart. You can also get great faucets from Home Depot for a couple $100s, but would they be as stylish? Yes. It's a faucet. Nobody cares. Looking ahead of us, you can see the area where all 3 branches of our river system come together. So the main branch is mostly behind us at this point. South branch is ahead to the left. North branch curves around to the right. That's where we're heading next. A lot of stuff's been built here the last 10 years. If you're new to the city, new to this area, you don't know what's new around here, let me tell you, it's changed a lot in the last decade. 3 steel and glass buildings to your right. You can see 2 of them. They were not here. All 3 of them were not here 10 years ago. Straight ahead of us, that office building with the kind of curvy design was not here 10 years ago, nor was the coolest building in this area. It might be the most stunning building in Chicago. The one ahead to the left after the Lake Street Bridge, which I'm sure you can see is incredibly narrow at the base. The widest part of that building's base, the widest part, is 39 feet wide. That's about double the width of this boat, and yet the tower is 720 feet tall. The architects that designed the building had never played Jenga. This is the worst designed building you'll ever see in your entire life. It's incredibly dangerous to look at it, take pictures of it, breathe in its direction. Do not point at it, sir. Obviously, it's perfectly safe. There's a lot more to say about that structure, though, so I'll catch it again as we head towards the South Branch in about 10 minutes. For now, though, just some basic facts. It's from 2017. It's an office building known by its address, 150 North Riverside. All right, looking to our right, I'll point out something that will probably seem subtle and unimportant for much of the tour. I wonder if you can catch it as you kind of glance at things to the right. Before I tell you what to look for, just kind of look around and listen. The river, I told you, is a Y-shaped river system. I should also add that the river is the reason why Chicago's got such great history to begin with. Having said that, the city honors the river in a somewhat interesting fashion. For over 100 years now, the city has embedded a Y shape into our public architecture, seemingly randomly and often hidden in plain sight. If you haven't seen it in your time in Chicago, I wouldn't be surprised, but if you look to your right, somewhere very, very, very close to the boat, there's a lot of letter Ys repeated over and over and over again. Anyone spotted them yet? The railings right next to us, every other section's got a Y in them. Just walk around the city, see where else you can spot it. It's kind of fun. It's not everywhere, but it's just a reminder of how important the river is. All right, looking north to the left now, one of the more interesting structures on the tour in terms of how it looks, there aren't a lot of short buildings on the tour. This building we're about to pass ahead to the left is unique for a lot of reasons, not just the height. Most obviously, it's got a really interesting design here, triangular profile, kind of like a big sailboat from the side view. You got triangular windows on the roof like sails, round porthole windows scattered throughout, even private docks at the base. The reason for all these sailing inspired elements in this design is the fact that the architect loved to sail. His name is Harry Weiss. These are the Chicago River Cottages, built in 1988. There are only 4 townhomes, and the most interesting thing I can tell you about them is that all 4 were still owned by the original owners from '88, so nobody had any idea how much these rare residences would sell for until 2015, 10 years ago, when one of them came back on the market. It was the one closest to the bridge. I can tell you what it sold for, but if you want to make your own guess, I'll tell you about it first so you've got some context to kind of just get a rough ballpark number in your head. Maybe it's a silly question. It was 10 years ago. You're not from Chicago probably, but All the same, 4,100 square feet, 5 floors. It's got its own private elevator. 99% of the docks in Chicago are on the lake, and you rent them from the city. That one you own, and it's the best dock location of any other dock in the city as far as I'm concerned. It's of course also obviously a unique building by a famous architect, and maybe it doesn't matter, but the photos of the inside made it look like it was in pretty good shape. So if you've got a rough ballpark figure in your head, I mentioned there's some interesting stuff about these bridges. It's not worth turning around, but the Kinzie Street Bridge we just went under is a pretty funny bridge. 21 years ago, it became better known as the infamous Dave Matthews Band Bridge. If you don't know what I'm talking about, 21 years ago, Dave Matthews Band, a very popular band, was driving over that bridge in 2 tour buses when one of the bus drivers decided to empty the bus's sewage tank as it went over the bridge. That would normally just be a huge environmental violation, as the base of the bridge is porous metal grating. Thankfully, at the exact same moments, an architectural tour boat was going underneath the bridge, and they got covered with 800 pounds of raw sewage. This actually happened. I know. They got their money back. Does that make it okay? The bridge we went under that's raised is also kind of cool. We do have a lot of moving bridges in Chicago. That one's up pretty much all the time because it's a railroad bridge with no customers anymore, and when it's down, it's so low it interrupts a lot of the boat traffic. But our bridges do still all go up and down. We actually have more moving bridges than any city in the world except for Amsterdam. They beat us architecture with tall and short buildings, old and new ones by famous architects from the past and the present. We're also staring down the heart of our river. If you kind of want to get an idea of what this river was like around 1880, when we were the busiest port city in the country, some say one of the busiest in the world. This river, just imagine, it was jam-packed with boats. There was no port on the lake. The river was the port, so you had boats parked on both sides, double, triple parked, going up and down the river as well, steamboats, sailboats alike. A lot of the stuff around here along the banks of the river would have been warehouses, mostly lumber yards. A lot of lumber coming from places like Minnesota. All right, looking south now into the South Branch, we got this building to the right with the incredibly narrow base. The reason why it's so narrow at the bottom is because there are railroad tracks to the right of it, the west side of it. That left the developers with a very narrow piece of land to work with. And that's why the land was undeveloped ever since there have been railroad tracks here, as far as I know. So this really interesting design, of course, worked around that restriction and may even lead some to wonder whether the tower does in fact have a problem with swaying. After all, that was the nature of my Jenga joke earlier. So does it have a problem? It should, but it does not, because of what's inside the top floor of the tower. Inside the top floor is a 160,000-gallon pool of water. When the building sways one direction, the water wants to stay where it was, so it acts as a counterweight, always moving the opposite direction as the buildings sway. If you ever wanted to impress your friends, that's called a tuned sloshing damper system. If you ever wanted to be left alone at a party, that's called a tuned sloshing damper system. That's worked very well for me several times. Normally I don't care to mention architecture firms for buildings. I think most people find it to be unimportant or uninteresting, but I will mention that building was designed by a firm called Getch Partners. I mention them because they also designed a very similar looking building here on the left coming up. Both buildings have a lot of similarities, but I think the most interesting is that both buildings have their own uniquely narrow base. This one's maybe less impressive than the last one. After all, you got these big V-shaped stilts coming down from the overhang. But even those are pretty cool. They look neat. They are structural, by the way. They actually hold up that side of the building. So why does this building have the huge cutout on this side? It's not just because it was done by the same architecture firm. It's actually the same reason why both buildings are pushed off the edge of the river, why this building on the right is pushed off the edge of the river. There's been a law in Chicago for about 4 decades. Basically says that any building built along the river since the law has to have at least a 30-foot wide setback. The idea is that that creates more access to the river for the public, and that was a relatively groundbreaking idea when that law was passed a few decades ago. Even more groundbreaking when it was first done in Chicago with the building coming up on the right after the bridge. This was the first in Chicago to have access to the river, a public space that is for folks. This building is from 1929. The reason that was pretty groundbreaking at that time was because at that time in the 20s, this river was absolutely disgusting. Really, nobody wanted to be next to the river. Of course, that's very different today. So having said that, I'll tell you more about river history later. This building, though, is also really nice to talk about because it's probably the best example of Art Deco architecture on the tour. If you're not familiar with Art Deco, it debuted in France at an art exhibition in the 1910s. It's founded all sorts of things, not just architecture, art, fashion, jewelry. But this building is a great example of it, probably the best on the tour. It's got a limestone facade, big setbacks, sweeping vertical lines, and decorative elements towards the bottom and the top, often with nature-based designs. Now let's go to the strangest building on the tour. Look at the black box coming up on the right, then go behind it. You'll see a building that's pretty unusual. It's almost all concrete. Top 7 floors are offices. No one works in there, by the way. Once we come out from under the bridge, take another look at it. I want you to just notice that the concrete area has 2 different colors. The darker color is where the windows would be if this were a normal building. It was done that way on purpose to trick your brain into thinking that it was a normal structure. You can kind of glance at it really quickly and your brain doesn't think twice about it because it almost kind of fills those in as windows. Obviously, if it were instead one solid color of concrete the entire way up, it would be a bizarre, obvious monolith. So why was it done that way? Well, that's how it's looked ever since it was built in 1971, when it was built to be the place where AT&T had all their phone switchboards. It was also built to be so sturdy that in the early 1970s, of course, that was the Cold War, they said that if a nuclear bomb had gone off in the area, your phones would still work. You would be dead, but your phones would still work. So AT&T would continue to charge you, which is all they really care about anyway. AT&T does still own the building. It's now home to tons of servers for that company. And I'll add that, as interesting as all that is, this is most interesting, that building is one of only 8 National Security Agency peering hubs across the U.S. Farther down on the right, there's a green building with a curve done by Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. We just passed a white building on the left by Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. There's a black building on the left by Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. And if you don't mind looking high in the sky to the left right now, you should start to see the tallest building in Chicago, the Sears or Willis Tower, also done by Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. So what's the name of that tall building? Sears or Willis? Well, it kind of depends on how much of a local you are, in my opinion. The name changed from Sears to Willis way back in 2009. Sears was founded here. Willis is based in London. They were never associated with Chicago as far as I'm aware. So it's a kind of a polarizing name, but most Chicagoans I know, including myself, still call that building the Sears Tower for a lot of good reasons. That is starting to change. Told you I was a high school teacher. Most of my students called that building the Willis Tower. Also, most of my students got F's. Everyone else called it the Sears Tower, and they got great grades. Whatever you call it, you got a good view of it right now. All 110 floors visible. Coolest floor 7 down from the top, where you can easily spot the 5 glass box windows that stick out from the 103rd floor by about 4 feet. The only thing that stops the people inside from plummeting to their deaths is an 1.5 inches of glass beneath their feet. It's made up of several thin layers of glass. The windows opened in 2009. 5 years later, 4 people were sitting inside one of the windows when one of the layers of glass shattered below them. This actually happened. The engineers that designed the windows were asked about why it shattered by the Chicago Tribune. Their explanation was pretty wordy, so I'll have to paraphrase it. They basically just said that they're designed to do that. You can look it up. It happened again, by the way, 5 years later, and it was in the same window. To summarize, it's only ever happened twice. It was the same window both times. Is anyone on the boat going to be visiting the Sears Tower Skydeck? You are going to go? Okay. Have fun. Pardon? It was 1 layer. Yeah. If you want to know more, it was the top layer of glass, and they said that that's a protective layer of glass that's meant to protect the other layers. Sure. Okay. Yeah, it does. It does make sense. Alright, if you want Batman facts, this is probably the coolest one on the tour in my opinion. The Joker, I should say the Dark Knight, began with the Joker and his henchmen robbing a bank. The bank they robbed, right there, this corner of this building right now. A gorgeous block-long Art Deco lobby. The building was never a bank. It is known as the Old Chicago Post Office. The building, they say, was the largest post office in the world from 1922 to 1994. It was shut down by the Postal Service in the 1990s because by that time the building was simply not processing that much mail anymore. Might sound boring to talk about why, but it's actually pretty important. There was a major type of business invented in Chicago. Some of this story is true. There was a barn down there. It was owned by Catherine O'Leary. She did, in fact, have a cow named Daisy. Even that part's true. And it's where the Great Chicago Fire actually began. There's even a building on that same spot now that shows you Chicago has a sense of humor about it. The building there now is the Chicago Fire Department's training headquarters. The part of the story that's false is that her cow kicked over a lantern. We don't know how the fire actually started, I'm sorry to say, but we do know that that story was made up by a newspaper writer. He admitted to making it up decades later. As for the Great Chicago Fire, it is now the second largest urban fire in all U.S. history, second only to the San Francisco earthquake fire of 1906.
Pag uwi na lang, punta tayo sa bahay, transfer ko sa computer, tapos kunin mo.
Akala ko, wait lang. Akala ko sabi mo, pag uwi ko na lang, bili na tayo phone.
School. Next time na.
Girl, kayo ka, girl! Muntik na
Oo nga.
dyan.
Sige na.
Ay, parang
Sharing.
mahulog.
Ito yung...
Ganun, babato ko ka, girl.
Dili ka lang. Di ka ganahan na mo baba ka?
Ay, maganda yan. Ha?
Di ka ganahan na mo
Ay,
baba ka?
ganun dire?
Oo.
Ah, sige, here.
No.
They had tried that before. But you're pregnant.
Oh yeah, you're pregnant.
You're
tummy.
Hindi ka malikod. Alright. Huh?
Girl, suotin ko yung kalo mo. Uy!
Go. Ay, to.
Meron, di ba?
Oh, gawing sa floor. You took a picture here last night.
Oh, saan?
Kevin pa ako ngayon, hindi pa ako yun. Devil eye. I have the devil
May
eye.
bridge dyan.
May bricks. Uy, malapit na no? It's yan, di ba?
Tama.
CJ's vlogging. Hey, watch CJ's ano ha?
CJ, para akong pulubi dyan ha? Tignan mo yung third ko.
Baba tayo?
Hindi ko alam. Girl, wag ka muna.
Ah, sige.
Gusto kayo?
Para ma-experience natin ng overpass.
Overpass. Nawala sa...
Robinson.
Another sir.
Everybody, let's go. Let's get to. I know what to do.
Guwapo building.
Uy, hagdan.
Uy, stairs.
Naubos yung battery ko dun ah. Ang tagal eh.
Saan? Sa
Sa
tour?
tour.
Pero maganda yung tour ah.
Oh, highlight.
So you guys ate here last time was in Chicago?
Yeah. That night.
Yeah.
Just to hear you breathe. Ayan, tara na. Mga gutom, mandirigma
Mga mandirigma.
ng hotdog.
Nakat ka, babe. Again. Sug ka dito. Oh, nag-heart si Papa.
Ba't ka malungkot?
Kamusta ang paa mo?
It's okay. I can survive.
Ikaw? Hindi na nakalakad.
So, aww.
Andyan na sila.
Pa-picture na kami. Ganun lang. Ganun lang. Amin na yung backpack. Sa'yo lang yung backpack?
Don't you want me like I want you, baby? Don't you need to say hi? Since tomorrow I will go crazy. All we gotta do is to meet me halfway.
Ayaw pala si Aileen.
Aileen, ano man?
Entry mo.
Dito ka kahoy. Maghanap ka daw ng holding hands. Bakit kailangan holding hands? I can buy myself holding hands.
Tinatawanan. Loko. Tinatawanan.
Baby, you love me better. I do. I don't wanna leave you. I don't wanna hurt you.
Starting to cry. Wala bang artista?
Kaya tayo?
Diretso na? Taas?
Diretso ng tapos. Gusto ko yun. Yung nakakatakot. Wow! Kaya mo yan, girl. Yung parang... Hi, hi, ho! Bahala kayo. Bahala kayo.
So, pwede na ba yan? Pwede na ba yung Peresin?
Pwede na. Umikot na eh.
So pag ilang minuto ba yan ang... Wala, sabi nga. Ano ba yan? Kaya nga. Okay. Babe, you're driving.
You're driving.
Oh, gotta get drunk. Okay, so yun nga, give me one. Yan. Baby, hands up. Baby, hands.
Sayaw, sayaw, sayaw.
Sayo-sayo. So, magkasya ko na ta. Akala ko nila. Hindi, akasya kayo niyan. Ang lamig, mainit na nga.
Go ahead.
Para hindi malaki yung mukha. Kailangan ng space.
Kaway,
Gusto ko yung sumisigaw na sini. Parang hindi naman kasi siya malakas.
Hindi na lang ako sasakay dyan. Naka-friend. Oo, tayo.
Nakasakay na ako niyan sa...
Nakasakay na ako dyan sa baba.
Oh no!
Oh boy!
200.
Why we stop? And as you go for allow us to tell you a little more about a place Chicago revolves around. Navy Pier. Since 1960.
Tumingin sa...
Shake it. Shake it.
Shake.
Alam mo, nakakatakot! Parang yung paa ko, bumabasa na.
Tataas pa tayo. Sige.
Saan pa tayo?
Kalahati pa lang to.
Tapos paano pag mabilis? Sa tower nga kahapon, hindi ako tumingin talaga. Tumingin talaga.
Now.
Sipin mo na ang airplane to.
Hindi, pwede lang ikat din.
May paak nga tayo, picturean mo. Tignan mo yung kamay ko. Yung may hand on setting. Dito. Paganyan.
Ha?
Natay ako nito eh.
Picture, video.
How are you?
Hala, tumatayo pa nga yung iba doon oh.
Kaya nga, ikaw lang nga yung takot.
1, 2.
Sa big boss ni Sugar Mom, hindi sa akin.
Sugar Mom!
This is so scary. Kayong dalawa.
Hey, next, tignan mo nga yun.
No!
Oh my God! Look at that one!
Dapat look up lang kayo. Hindi mag-look down.
Isn't it amazing?
Ay, babae.
Sige lang.
From Dubai, oh. Ay. 1, 2. Next, Maria Cello. 1, 2. Okay. Saan dapat sa akin? Ay, wala na naman siya solo. Dito ka, dito ka. Uy, gusto ko si Master mag-ano.
Bakit? Gumagalaw?
Oo. 1, 2. 1.
Ako ang masisipin.
Mas maganda to do. May ka masipin sa akin, girl. Salamat talaga sa gusto.
Saan ba, girl?
Uy, nasa pinaka... ano na tayo? Nasa pinaka-top na tayo.
Ay, nakapikit na naman ako.
Nag-stop pa.
Dito from Dubai.
Kita from Dubai.
Parang hindi kinabahan ah.
Huy!
Ulit. Ayan. My God, babe.
Do not close your eyes.
Nag-record. I have to close. Okay.
Sorry, sa akin.
Thank you. Sa kanya daw
Last, Aray ko.
CR mo na ako. Me too.
Janab! Janab! Libre rin ba yan?
Ano?
Libre rin? Oh! Sarap na ngayon, di ba?
I did. Maybe it's some dessert at Jollibee or something.
Ba't ka malungkot?
Libre. Bakit, ha? Bakit libre? Bakit libre? Oo. Sumingit ko. Bakit libre?
Bakit? Hindi pa naman alis.
Next one? Oh, sorry. Baka included na sa akin. Oh, yeah. You have a...
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. Come on, guys. Dora goes fishing.
Watch your step, everyone.
Sick. Wow. Sarap. First two.
Dito talaga tayo? Ano talaga tayo?
Dalawa.
Ganda niya, babe.
Sumakses na naman sa akin.
Sino maganda?
Why not?
Girl, pa-picture kami. Jack and Rose.
Where'd Nikki go?
Avoiding the sun. 1, 2.
The sun feels good.
I know. Again. She's allergic. Bella. Is that you, Bella?
The eating is live. Basic training na Jack.
Nasa dagat tayo ulit. Aha.
Pack your bags, let's sail away. Sunny skies, we're on our way. Feel the breeze, feel the sway. Good vibes coming every day. Blue waves calling out our name. Sunsets never look the same. Dance all night, play the game. Memories we will never tame. On a cruise life feels so bright. Under stars and moonlit nights. Laughing, love, everything's alright. Sail away in pure your worries, wave goodbye. Open hearts beneath the sky. Dreams unfold, don't wonder why. Adventure calls, let's fly. Leave your worries, wave goodbye. Open hearts beneath the sky. Dreams unfold, don't wonder why. Adventure calls, let's fly.
O Aileen,
Hindi ka man kita, good. Hindi ka nga kita, gagawin.
hindi.
100 beats per minute per minute.
Hindi naman. 90.
96 lang na, 96. Minus 99.9.
Ganyan lang.
Bakit?
Ang ganda oh.
Wow, ano na? Here comes the sun. Oh, Indiana na tayo. Pa Indiana.
Sure ka? Wow. Ililiko namin to, Shelo.
Oh, alis. Ganun mag-merge.
Ganun mag-merge.
Wala kaming barya.
Hindi, okay lang. Libre to.
Wow. Topless po ba?
Topless.
Siya ng driver. Siya pa na ganyan. Tayo dito. Legit na. Disney princess. Ay, naku, basta.
Batang yan. Tapos maraming insekto mamaya. Pabagbisit.
Baka ano, baka ayun niya talaga madumi yung ano niya. Sa gabal sa ano. Kapoy bitaw pa daw. Sa pagka-usi niya.
straight mo lang.
Nakakatakot pa rin yung road up. Pag isa mo lang mag-e-edit, tapos may nakita.
Ayaw nga, wag na.
Tapos sinabi, hi, Mascor.
Oh!
Tarantado.
Ako nga pala yung
Bahala
singing.
Kanta na lang ako. Ay! Ganun pala dun. Di mo, baka na naman na-imagine ko dun. Kung ano lang, yun, my dear.
Buti hindi na.
Bak-
Saan is Maya? Hindi yung old na
Old house.
ba yun?
Ah, hindi, yung
Ah,
hotel.
sa Diplomat
Sa
Hotel.
Diplomat
Oo, yun. Ano pala yan? Diplomat Hotel? Parang pumunta.
May mga ano din, Madre Pare.
Oo, kasi nandun sa